We shall.
We shall. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming this afternoon. We are Eric and Arty on the Upper Missouri. We'll be performing a selection of pieces for you from the 1700s on into the mid-1800s. We're going to be covering some colonial time. We're going to be covering some minstrel time. We're going to be covering some antebellum time. That's that time right before the American Civil War. And some music from the time of the Civil War. Historic music, a little bit of banter, and you get to listen. And thank you for being here with us today. Thanks for visiting Fort Union. This first piece that I'm going to be performing is going to be on banjo. This is a minstrel banjo. Most it's a little bit different than the ones that we're used to seeing today. It's a 5-string. This one essentially acts as a drum. That's the only note that that one will ever play. And you'll notice the headstock on here has what's called a beehive finial. Towards, not long after this was one from 1847, made by William Boucher, and this is not an original, it's a reproduction of that one. Not long after that, they basically kind of go away from the style of a headstock, and they go to what we're used to seeing with guitars. Years go by, and there's a guitar manufacturer company today that most people have probably heard of. It's the Fender company. Their electric guitar, the Stratocaster, has a throwback to that minstrel style headstock. The headstock of their electric, the Fender Stratocaster, has got this style of a head, a throwback to the minstrel instruments of the time frame.
And it wasn't until that musical instruments were really being made a lot in the United States in those early days that the tuning pegs actually got switched to 3-on-3 instead of what would have been 4 or 5 or 6. That was something that was totally come up by guitar makers. One in particular, C.F. Martin, who was classically trained as a violin maker, and then they started switching over to the 3, and like they said, they switched over back in the 60s, 70s, Leo Fender guitar.
One of the things that can be rather cumbersome for this instrument, humidity. The weather can change things. This is a goat skin head, so if there's too much moisture in the air, the head gets floppy, and the banjo sounds less like a banjo and sounds like a sorry excuse for an instrument. Another issue that it's got too is that the tuning pegs, these are the same styles what you see on a violin. Now on a guitar, a modern guitar and ones later on, have the ability of micro-tuning. So you can turn that peg a long way without moving that string a whole heck of a lot.
Because we have these metal gears and cogs that when you turn it just a little bit, it'll stay put wherever it's at.
With the violin-style tuning pegs, a little goes a long way because you're churning the string that much more than what you are with the guitar.
And you're keeping it in place with friction.
With friction. That's all. So if this gets loose or gets knocked, this peg pops out and the string comes completely undone. Hopefully that won't happen. Anyway, the first song that we're going to do for you is Kick Up the Devil on the Holiday. That's from Briggs' 1805 method book. The second banjo method book that was ever written. No one really remembers the first because it was terrible. But Briggs was able to write one that allowed people to learn how to play. Kick Up the Devil on a Holiday.
Song we're going to be playing is called Cindy, or some people call it Cindy Cindy. And it's an interesting song in as far as it shows something that they do a lot in history during the antebellum and the Civil War era, which they would take a melody of a song that was very popular or very widespread known, and they would rewrite words to it. Before it was called Cindy Cindy, it was actually a gospel song called Get On Board, and the words were get on board, children, children. And what a lot of people would do, they'd take songs they'd find at church, and they'd put their own words to it, whether they were working for a company, whether they were working out on the farm, no matter where they were. They had the melody in their head. Sometimes they couldn't remember all the church words, so they just started putting in their own melodies. Sometimes this did not jive well with the church, so they'd say, nope, we're not singing this song anymore. But nonetheless, it's an interesting part of history, so the next song is Cindy, Cindy.
You ought to see my Cindy, she lives away down south. Now she's so sweet, the honeybees, they swarm around her mouth. The first I seen my Cindy, a-standing in the door, her shoes and stockings in her hand, her feet spread round the floor. Get along home, Cindy, Cindy, get along home. Cindy, Cindy, get along home. Cindy, Cindy, I'll marry you someday. I wish I was an apple, hanging on a tree, and every time that Cindy passed, she'd take a bite of me. If I was made of sugar, standing in the town, and every time my Cindy passed, I'd take some sugar down. Get along home, Cindy, Cindy, get along home. Cindy, Cindy, get along home. Cindy, Cindy, I'll marry you someday. My Cindy got religion, she had it once before, but when she heard my old banjo, she leaped upon the floor. She took me to her parlor, she cooled me with a fan. She said I was the prettiest thing, the shape of mortal man. Get along home, Cindy, Cindy, get along home. Cindy, Cindy, get along home. Cindy, Cindy, I'll marry you someday. Now Cindy is a sweet girl, my Cindy is a peach. She threw her arms around me tight and hung on like a leech. She kissed me and she hugged me, she called me sugar plum. She hugged so tightly I could hardly breathe, I thought my time had come. Get along home, Cindy, Cindy, get along home. Cindy, Cindy, get along home. Cindy, Cindy, I'll marry you someday. If I had thread and needle, if I knew how to sew, I'd sew that gal to my coattail, and down the road I'd go. I want my Cindy, Cindy, her lips and arms and feet. I've never seen another gal that Cindy couldn't beat. Get along home, Cindy, Cindy, get along home. Cindy, Cindy, get along home. Cindy, Cindy, I'll marry you someday. Get along home, Cindy, Cindy, get along home. Cindy, get along home. Cindy, Cindy, I'll marry you someday.
Woohoo!
This next song is well, it's a traditional drinking song. It's one that's been around for a very long time. Like we've talked about before, it's a song that would kind of morph over time, and some verses are more appropriate than others, and this is a family-friendly version of that. This is called All For Me Grog, and this is definitely a Fort Union piece of music. Ever since we've been coming out to Fort Union, a dear friend of ours, Mr. Kim Koenig, would sing this song and has taught it to us, and so, well, we've just got to do this one. It's definitely a Fort Union song. And it's all for me grog, me jolly, jolly grog, all gone for beer and tobacco. I spent all of me tin down in South Street drinking gin, and across the western ocean I must wander. Oh, where is me hat, me noggin, noggin hat, all gone for beer and tobacco. Well, the brim it is wore out, and the ground is kicked about, and me hair is looking out for better weather. And it's all for me grog, me jolly, jolly grog, all gone for beer and tobacco. Oh, I spent all of me tin down in South Street drinking gin, and across the western ocean it's all for me grog, me jolly, jolly grog. All gone for beer and tobacco. Well, I spent all of me tin down in South Street drinking gin, and across the western ocean I must wander. Oh, where are me boots, me noggin, noggin boots? All gone for beer and tobacco. Well, the soles are all worn out, and the heels is kicked about, and me toes is looking out for better weather. And it's all for me grog, me jolly, jolly grog. All gone for beer and tobacco. Oh, I spent all of me tin down in South Street drinking gin, and across the western ocean I must wander. Oh, where are me pence, me noggin, noggin pence? All gone for beer and tobacco. Well, the cuffs are all worn out, and the fly is kicked about, and me bum is looking out for better weather. And it's all for me grog, me jolly, jolly grog. All gone for beer and tobacco. Oh, I spent all of me tin down in South Street drinking gin, and across the western ocean I must wander. I'm sick and stony broke, and I'm parted from me smoke, and the sky is looking blacker than thunder, and the tavern keeper too, for I haven't got a sou. That's the way you're treated when you're out and under. And it's all for me grog, me jolly, jolly grog. All gone for beer and tobacco. Oh, I spent all of me tin down in South Street drinking gin, and across the western ocean I must wander. I'm sick to me head, and I haven't been to bed since first we came ashore with plunder. I've seen centipedes and snakes, and I'm filled with pains and aches, and I guess we better push out over yonder. And it's all for me grog, me jolly, jolly grog. All gone for beer and tobacco. Oh, I spent all of me tin down in South Street drinking gin, and across the western ocean I was wander. The next piece that we are going to play is a piece of music written by Stephen Foster, and he was a pretty prolific writer.
Yep.
During the minstrel time period, going on the antebellum period, even during the time of the American Civil War, his music was popular for a very long time. And one of the things that he would do is very common for during the minstrel time period. The songs are there was kind of a, like today we romanticize the West, you know, we might romanticize the fur trade. Well, for whatever reason, there was kind of a romanticized notion of what it was for the life of the enslaved, okay, for those who were slaves in the United States. And so songs would be written about that. Different words were used then than are used now. That was considered normal. It wasn't meant to be derogatory or anything like that. But over the course of time, words do change. Now, this piece of music uses words that today we wouldn't normally say in polite or mixed company, okay? But we've elected to use it because of the context of this piece of music, because we're in a historic place performing on historic instruments, historic music that you might have a historic experience. So we are not endorsing the use of the word, we are merely allowing you to have this academic experience of what the music was like from that time frame. The word darky is going to be used 3 times. It's going to be in regards to the enslaved. Now, this is a song that we can relate to in this area. It's called My Old Kentucky Home Goodnight. We have people that are looking back on life back home where farming was going on. In this case, the crop that is being harvested is the sugarcane harvest. And in our neck of the woods here, what we're worried about now and why farmers are out irrigating or thankful for the rain is we've got the sugar beets. Okay? With the sugar cane harvest, they were very dependent upon the slave population to help harvest those crops. Before we had Roundup Ready beets here, we were very dependent upon the migrant workforce to help hoe the beets so that we could have better yields for the farmers. And as they're looking back here, they're also remembering how life has changed for them and how life has become different. And for us, we've experienced this wonderful thing called the Bakken Oil Formation, and that's definitely changed life for us here as well. But like them, we can look at our home, we can see how it's changed, but we still have these wonderful memories and can look forward to the future memories that we get to have in our homes here. This is My Old Kentucky Home. Good night.
The sun shines bright in the old Kentucky home. This summer the darkies are gay. The corn tops are ripe and the meadows in the bloom, while the birds make music all the day. The young folks roll on the little cabin floor, all merry, all happy and bright. By and by hard times come a-knocking at my door, then my old Kentucky home, good night. Weep no more, my lady, oh weep no more today. We will sing one song for the old Kentucky home, for the old Kentucky home far away. They hunt no more for the possum and the coon on the meadow, the hill and the shore. They sing no more by the glimmer of the moon on the bench by the old cabin door. The day goes by like a shadow o'er the heart, with sorrow where all was delight. The time has come when the darkies have to part, then my old Kentucky home, good night. Weep no more, my lady, oh weep no more today. We will sing one song for the old Kentucky home, for the old Kentucky home far away. The head must bow and the back will have to bend, wherever the darky may go. A few more days and the troubles all will end in the field where the sugar cane grows. A few more days for to tote the weary load, no matter 'twill never be light. A few more days till we totter on the road, then my old Kentucky home, good night. Weep no more, my lady, oh weep no more today. We will sing one song for the old Kentucky home, for the old Kentucky home far away.
We have a solo now by, what's your name again? No name, no name.
Oh.
Sister of Anonymous.
No, what?
Speaking of which,
this song was
the next
written by
song was
you.
actually written by Anonymous. Anonymous. Around 1800 is the best that we can tell for this, stemming out about the time of the American Revolution. A song that if you had a good elementary music teacher, yes, I'll keep on saying that, you would have been taught at school. The song called Billy Boy. Oh, where have you been, Billy boy, Billy boy? Oh, where have you been, charming Billy?
I have been to seek a wife, she's the joy of all my life. She's a young thing, but cannot leave her mother.
Did she ask you to come in, Billy boy, Billy boy? Did she ask you to come in?
asked me to come in with a dimple on her chin. She's a young thing but cannot leave her mother.
Did she set for you a chair, Billy boy, Billy boy? Did she set for you a chair, charming Billy?
Yes, she set for me a chair. She has ringlets in her hair. She's a young thing but cannot leave her mother.
Can she bake a cherry pie, Billy boy, Billy boy? Can she make a cherry pie, charming Billy?
Yes, she can bake a cherry pie, quick as a cat can lick its eye. She's a young thing and cannot leave her mother.
Can she make a feather bed, Billy boy, Billy boy? Can she make a feather bed, charming Billy?
Yes, she can make a feather bed and put the pillow at the head. She's a young thing but cannot leave her mother.
Just how old can she be, Billy boy, Billy boy? Just how old can she be, charming Billy?
3 times 6 or 4 times 7, 22 and 11. She's
No,
a young
wait a
thing,
second.
but
You keep on saying she's a young thing that cannot leave her mother.
she can't leave her
Okay,
mom.
now I only have to count to 4 most of the time, but
Okay.
okay, follow with me now.
I am.
3 times
3
6.
times 6, 18.
3 times 6 is 18. 4 times 7 is
28.
28. 28 and 18.
46.
46.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep.
Then we've got 2 times 20,
Yes.
which is 40,
40.
along with the
80. Yeah, 66.
86.
46.
46.
I should have married a math teacher.
Okay, we'll say it's 60. We're gonna say it's 86 plus 11. You've got 97 years old. How is she possibly a young?
No,
thing?
no, you're forgetting there's a comma in there. There's a comma
That
in there.
Oxford comma that people keep on trying to get rid of.
Yes.
So you mean that punctuation actually changes the
it
meaning of things?
means things. It does.
So we should leave that comma in there.
leave that thing in there.
That's where the
Don't
this answer
touch
is.
it.
Okay.
That's what Anonymous wanted it to be there.
Okay, so explain how this works out.
3 times 6.
Okay, 18,
Okay. Or 4 times 7.
which is 28.
Or. So she is either. the
So
girl-
okay, so
Yes.
between
I-
18 and 28 years
I'm not sure how old she is, but she's between one of those two.
Okay,
All right.
Okay.
Now, mom is 2 times 20
40.
and 11.
So 51.
Yes.
Okay, so that makes sense. So
It would really make sense that she's a young thing but cannot leave her mother.
yes, it is. This next piece of music, like some of the other ones that we've played to this point, it's been enjoyed by a lot of people. It's written in 1861 by Mr. Root, and people that enjoy music will oftentimes go and change the lyrics. The name of the song is called "Battle Cry of Freedom." It's a good Union song, okay? For those fighting in the North for our federal troops and backing up the Union, you know, wanting to keep the nation home. 1861, and they loved it. In fact, so many people loved it that the Confederates ripped it off.
And we said, this is going to be a great Southern song. It's going to inspire and all the things that you guys did.
And over the course of time, you would have these different bantering verses back and forth, and some of them got rather, well, soldiers have a lot of time on their hands, and not everything is user-friendly, so we're not going to do those ones. But there were some very user-friendly ones. So as we sing through this song, every time you hear me sing a verse, it's going to be a Union verse. Every time that you hear Arty sing a verse, it's going to be a Confederate verse. So we'll see
Which is
how
very
this goes.
appropriate because during the Civil War, everyone knows a lot of times you'd have brothers fighting against brothers, which is a total foreign concept for any parent, right?
They're siblings for that.
Your siblings, right? Okay.
Oh, we'll rally round the flag, boys, we'll rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom. We will rally from the hillside, we'll gather from the plain, shouting the battle cry of freedom. The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Down with the traitors and up with the stars. While we rally round the flag, boys, we'll rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom.
Our gallant boys
boys have marched to the rolling of the drum. Shout, shout the battle cry of freedom, and the leaders in charge cry out, come on boys, come on. Shout, shout the battle cry of freedom. Our Dixie forever, she's never at a loss. Down with the eagle and up with the cross. We'll rally round the bonny flag, we'll rally once again. Shout, shout the battle cry of freedom.
We are springing to the call of our brothers gone before, shouting the battle cry of freedom, and we'll fill our vacant ranks with 1,000,000 free men more, shouting the battle cry of freedom. The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Down with the traitors and up with the stars, while we rally round the flag, boys, we'll rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom.
They have laid down their lives on the bloody battlefield. Shout, shout the battle cry of freedom. Their motto is resistance, to tyrants will not yield. Shout, shout the battle cry of freedom. Our Dixie forever, she's never at a loss. Down with the eagle and up with the cross. We'll rally round the bonny flag, we'll rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom.
We will welcome to our numbers, loyal, true, and brave, shouting the battle cry of freedom. And although they may be poor, not a man shall be a slave, shouting the battle cry of freedom. The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Down with the traitors and up with the stars, while we rally round the flag, boys will rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom.
While our boys have responded and to the fields have gone, shout, shout the battle cry of freedom. Our noble women also have aided them at home, so shout, shout the battle cry of freedom. Our Dixie forever, she's never at a loss. Down with the eagle and up with the cross. As we rally round the bonny flag, we'll rally once again. Shout, shout the battle cry of freedom.
And finally, on April 8th, in 1865, at the courthouse in Appomattox, the war would finally end, the Union would prevail. So we're springing to the call from the east and from the west, shouting the battle cry of freedom, and we'll hurl the rebel crew from the land we love the best, shouting the battle cry of freedom. The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Down with the traitors and up with the stars, while we rally round the flag, boys will rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom. Got another banjo piece for you. It's called Danny Jim from Carolina. A lot of the pieces of music that were in the banjo books at the time oftentimes had some kind of a melody. There are oftentimes lyrics to them. Danny Jim is a song that I can't in good conscience sing out loud to you. So we're going to play just the melody on the banjo for you with the guitar as well. Give me two.
next song is called Buffalo Gals, and for those of you who weren't able to hear us yesterday, there's a story behind it. When we think of the time period of the antebellum and the Civil War, and we think of terms with buffalo in it, one of the terms that comes to mind is buffalo soldiers, which were the African-American soldiers who fought alongside the Union during the Civil War and
Later on going into the Indian War period.
yes. So a lot of people will think that this song is written about African-American gals, okay? But if we dig into research and we look behind who wrote this, we find out that when they wrote the song, they would travel around to different places and they'd sing it and they'd put the town's name in wherever they were playing. So sometimes it would be, hey, Brooklyn gals, won't you come out tonight? Come out tonight. Or sometimes it would be, New York gals, won't you come out tonight? You know, oh, Pennsylvania Dutch, won't you come out? No, that's not one it's heard. That's not one. But they found that they got the best response when they were in the town of Buffalo. So, as an honor to the crowds of Buffalo, to a head nod to them for eternity now, they have penned the song Buffalo Gals. So, we hope you enjoy. There we go. As I was lumbering down the street, down the street, down the street, a handsome gal I chanced to meet. Oh, she was a fair view. Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight? Come out tonight, come out tonight. Oh, Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight and dance by the light of the moon? I asked her if she'd have some talk, have some talk, have some talk. Her feet covered up the whole sidewalk as she stood close by me. Oh, Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight? Come out tonight, come out tonight. Oh, Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight and dance by the light of the moon? I asked her if she'd have a dance, have a dance, have a dance. I thought that I might get a chance to shake a foot with her. Oh, Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight? Come out tonight, come out tonight. Oh, Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight and dance by the light of the moon? I'd like to make that gal my wife, gal my wife, gal my wife, and I'd be happy all my life if I had her by me. Oh, Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight? Come out tonight, come out tonight. Oh, Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight and dance by the light of the moon? Oh, Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight? Come out tonight, come out tonight. Oh, Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight and dance by the light of the moon?
We can be proud. He said he learned that at his elementary school.
Good. Hey, good man, good teacher. Good man. Good teachers are the best, aren't they? Right? Okay. The next song we're going to do is another song that has many different sets of lyrics, as people have taken the melody and putting their own spin on things. The version we're going to be doing today is just called Rosin the Bow. It's kind of a drinking song. It's a song of farewell, of remembering good times and sending our friend off, named Rosin the Bow. I've traveled all over this world, and now to another I go. I know that good quarters are waiting to welcome old Rosin the Bow. To welcome old Rosin the Bow. To welcome old Rosin the Bow. And I know that good quarters are waiting to welcome old Rosin the Bow. When I'm dead and laid out on the counter, a voice you may hear from below, saying, send down a hogshead of whiskey to drink with old Rosin the Bow. To drink with old Rosin the Bow. To drink with old Rosin the Bow. Saying, send down a hogshead of whiskey to drink with old Rosin the Bow.
dozen stout fellas and stacked them all up in a row. Let them drink out of half-gallon bottles to the memory of Rosin the Bow. To the memory of Rosin the Bow. To the memory of Rosin the Bow. Let them drink out of half-gallon bottles to the memory of Rosin the Bow. Then get this half-dozen stout fellas and let them all stagger and go. And in it, dig a great hole in the meadow, and in it put Rosin the Bow. And in it put Rosin the Bow. And in it put Rosin the Bow. And dig a great hole in the meadow, and in it put Rosin the Bow. Then get ye a couple of bottles and put one at me head and me toe, with a diamond ring scratch upon it the name of old Rosin the Bow. The name of old Rosin the Bow. The name of old Rosin the Bow. With a diamond ring scratch upon them, the name of old Rosin the Bow. I've only this one consolation, as out of this world I go. I know that the next generation will resemble old Rosin the Bow. Will resemble old Rosin the Bow. Will resemble old Rosin the Bow. I know that the next generation will resemble old Rosin the Bow. I fear that old tyrant approaching, that cruel, remorseless old foe. And I lift up me glass in his honor, take a drink with old Rosin the Bow. Take a drink with old Rosin the Bow. Take a drink with old Rosin the Bow. And I lift up me glass in his honor, take a drink with old Rosin the Bow.
Wouldn't it be great if we could have an advertisement moment here?
An advertisement moment.
A pause, if you will, or perhaps a sponsor or something of that nature. You know, despite the fact that Eric and Arty in the Upper Missouri is indeed sponsored by Doc Halperbun's Cure-All Citrus Medicinal Shrub, which does wonders, by the way. Helps keep you from getting scurvy and helps keep you happy, depending on what's going on around you. We've yet to come across something as revolutionary as what the information that we're about to share with you. And here's the fantastic thing, and gentlemen, please, you're going to want to take note.
Take note.
There's absolutely no cost at all. There's actually, there's no hook. There is nothing for you to have to worry about failing or losing at all.
100% guarantee?
Gentlemen, this is going to make your life better, so please, Mr. Flynn, please listen.
This one.
Oh, all of you poor single men, don't ever give up in despair, for there's always a chance while there's life to capture the heart of the fair. No matter what may be your age, you always may cut a fine dash, and we'll suit all the girls to a hair if you'll only get a mustache. A mustache, a mustache, if you'll only get a mustache. Now I know as you're hearing this, you're thinking this has got to be some additional gimmick. We've seen all kinds of snake oil salesmen go through our town and try to rip us off of our hard-earned money. But gentlemen, please listen to me. It's very important. It's not like that at all. Please listen. No matter for manners or style, no matter for birth or for fame, all these have nothing to do with young ladies changing their name. There's no reason now to despond or go and do anything rash, for you'll do though you can't raise a cent if you'll only raise a mustache. A mustache, a mustache, if you'll only raise a mustache. Now, you're thinking perhaps, well, that's all good and fine for you, Eric and Arty. You two obviously have life figured out. This has benefited you well. You have finely groomed facial hair. But you know, I might not have been blessed by the Almighty in traditional, shall we say, ruggedly handsome good looks.
Not at all.
Perhaps I don't have a keen sense of wit
Not at all.
Perhaps no, I'm just not good at chatting up the ladies.
What are you good at anyway?
Well, I'll tell you. Please listen. You don't need any of that. Your head may be thick as a block, or empty as any football. Oh, your eyes may be green as the grass, your heart just as hard as the wall. Yet, take the advice that I give. You'll soon see affection and cash, and we'll be all the rage with the girls if you'll only raise a mustache. A mustache, a mustache, if you'll only raise a mustache. Now, you're thinking I'm with you, Eric and Arty. Now, we've seen the ambrotypes. Original ambrotypes in the days that Arty and I were married to our respective wives, because that would be weird otherwise, because we're brothers, and that's just not a thing that takes place in Montana.
Making it awkward since 1853.
Wouldn't it be great if we could finally hear, perhaps, a personal testimonial that can attest to the goodness of this wonderful thing? Please listen to Arty.
I didn't always look like this. I once was in sorrow and tears. You know why?
It was true.
Because I was jilted, you
It
know.
was really sad.
So right down to Missouri I
Right
ran,
out that door.
to quickly dispose of my woes. Oh, yes. But a good friend, a mediocre friend, Mom sent my brother to give me advice, and timely prevented a splash. Now at home I'm a wife and 10 heirs, and all through a handsome mustache. A mustache, a mustache, and all through a handsome mustache.
So yeah, we hope you were taking notes.
I'm convinced.
Should we share some music from the time of the Revolution again?
Yes, we should.
You forgot an instrument, didn't you?
I got more instruments than I can count.
All right. This one. As soon as I said that, I thought maybe perhaps he left it back at the tent. He did not, fortunately.
This one?
That's the one.
This one?
The fight.
Now, the next piece we're going to play is originally written for the fife. The fife is a predecessor to the musical instrument called the flute, which is the worst musical instrument in the world.
His former student standing here right outside that door.
No, just kidding. As I can't play the fife, I'm actually going to play it on the penny whistle. Now, the penny whistle's original name is the tin whistle. It was invented by a farmer who was just kind of fed up. You know, he wasn't the owner of the farm, but he was just kind of fed up of not making enough wages, not striking it out on his own. So he went back into the blacksmith shop and created the penny whistle, or the tin whistle, because it was made out of tin at the time. The reason why they nickname it the penny whistle is not because they cost a penny. A lot of people think that, oh, here's a penny. No, it's not worth a penny. The reason why they call it the penny whistle is because a good penny whistle player walking around the streets, playing as people were walking by, could earn a penny per song while they were playing their music around town. So that's why they nicknamed it the penny whistle, penny per song. So the first song I'm going to play, actually I'll play two and we're going to mix them together. The first one's called the Boston March. It's an early march, very American march. And it was actually, like I said, it was a fife song. It was a duet, but since I can't play both at once, I'll play one. The second one is also a march called The Girl I Left Behind Me, which is another English, Irish, and American song. Right? 1, 2, 3, and... lot of people think it's a lot easier to play, and it kind of is. The one thing that's challenging is you can actually play 3 octaves with it just by the speed of the air that you play through it. So sometimes that can be a bit of a challenge. You can play really low, and then by not changing your fingers at all, you know, a little faster. And if I blow it even harder, it'll be higher, but it's really shrill, and I'm not going to do that to you guys because you're good people. Good? Good.
Next piece that we'll be playing is one that you probably learned in elementary class and grade school again. Coming to us from the year 1843, so 5 years before the making of this particular style of banjo. This is Old Dan Tucker.
It's kind of a, what would you call it, a nonsense song.
Nonsense song.
The words are whimsical, they don't necessarily mean a whole lot. There's a little bit of a story to it, but some of it doesn't make any sense. Old Dan Tucker was a fine old man, washed his face with a frying pan, combed his hair with a wagon wheel, died with a toothache on his heel. Get out of the way, old Dan Tucker, get out of the way, old Dan Tucker, get out of the way, old Dan Tucker, you're too late to get your supper. I come to town the other night, heard a noise and saw a fight. Watchmen's running all around, crying, Old Dan Tucker's come to town. Get out of the way, old Dan Tucker, get out of the way, old Dan Tucker, get out of the way, old Dan Tucker, you're too late to get your supper. Tucker was a hardened sinner, never said his grace for dinner. The old South squealing depicted squall, he ate the whole hog, tail and all. Get out of the way, old Dan Tucker, get out of the way, old Dan Tucker, get out of the way, old Dan Tucker, you're too late to get your supper. Get out of the way, old Dan Tucker, get out of the way, old Dan Tucker, get out of the way, old Dan Tucker, you're too late to get your supper.
Share on the last piece.
Sure, I'd love to share the last piece. A lot of people, when they listen to my brother Eric and I perform, they always say, besides, boy, you have a handsome mustache. They never say that. All right. Besides that, they say, Arty, are you just too poor to play on a regular size guitar? I mean, that's not because I'm poor. This is what we call a size 2 guitar, or its nickname is the Parlor Guitar. The reason they call it the Parlor Guitar is because of where it was being played at mostly. Okay? Usually in the house, in the evenings, if you had friends over, you ate your dinner, and then you retired to the room called the parlor. A room that would be similar in size to this. Generally, you might have some big windows overseeing some of your land and things like that.
Might kind of be considered a living room today.
Yes, probably the equivalent of that. Now, at this time, the man or the lady of the house, or maybe even their children, would come out and they'd perform for you. They might read poetry, or they would sing songs. And if they sang songs, they did so on a guitar this size, the Parlor Guitar. Now, during this era, during the antebellum and the Civil War times, the guitar was actually not played a whole lot by male figures. The men of the house, or musicians of the time, would more appropriately be playing a violin. Okay? At this time, the ladies, the females, would more be appropriately playing these guitars. Also why the size of the guitar is so small. A man of my frame would be playing a violin, whereas a lady who would not have my same frame size would be more appropriate for this, instead of me like this. So, that's why the parlor guitar is so very important.
That ties in with this song.
It ties into this song. Stephen Foster wrote this song. He was an American composer, and a lot of times he would go over to friends' house, eat dinner with them, dine with them, and then retire to the parlor, and he would play his music for them, since he was indeed a composer. He noticed at this one particular friend's house that whenever he would come over to sing, one of the slave girls would come around and sneak around and always stand by the window and listen to him play. Every time he was there, it's the same young little girl. And it kind of let an impression on him. You know, that someone would sneak out, maybe risk getting into trouble just to hear his music. And so finally one day, he asked, say, what is the name of that young girl that I've seen her many times? She sneaks up, she listens to music, and the gentleman, the host said, well, her name is Nellie Bly. So he wrote this song for the little girl, Nellie Bly.
Nellie Bly, bring the broom along. We'll sweep the kitchen clean, my dear, and have a little song. Poke the wood, my lady love, and make the fire burn. And while I take the banjo down, just give them a turn. Hey, Nellie, ho, Nellie, listen, love, to me. I'll sing for you, play for you a dulcet melody. Hey, Nellie, ho, Nellie, listen, love, to me. I'll sing for you, play for you a dulcet melody. Nellie Bly have a voice just like a turtle dove. I hears it in the meadow and I hears it in the groves. Nellie Bly have a heart warm as a cup of tea, and bigger than the sweet potato down in Tennessee. Hey, Nellie, ho, Nellie, listen, love, to me. I'll sing for you, play for you a dulcet melody. Hey, Nellie, ho, Nellie, listen, love, to me. I'll sing for you, play for you a dulcet melody. Nellie Bly shuts her eyes when she goes to sleep. When she wakens up again, her eyeballs begin to peep. The way she walks, she lifts her foot and then she brings it down. And when it lights, there's music there in that part of the town. Hey, Nellie, ho, Nellie, listen, love, to me. I'll sing for you, play for you a dulcet melody. Hey, Nellie, ho, Nellie, listen, love, to me. I'll sing for you, play for you a dulcet melody. Nellie Bly, never, never sigh. Never bring the teardrop to the corner of your eye. For the pie is made of pumpkins and the mush is made of corn. And there's corn and pumpkins, plenty love a-lying in the barn. Hey, Nellie, ho, Nellie, listen, love, to me. I'll sing for you, play for you a dulcet melody. Hey, Nellie, ho, Nellie, listen, love, to me. I'll sing for you, play for you a dulcet melody. Hey, Nellie, ho, Nellie, listen, love, to me. I'll sing for you, play for you a dulcet melody. Thank you all for coming and listening to us this evening. Thanks for coming and visiting Fort Union Trading Post National Historic Site. Please come back, enjoy the rest of the weekend, and see what's going on with Arty.
If you have any questions, please feel free to come up and ask, and we'll answer the best we can. And if we can't, we'll lie to make you feel like we know the answer.